you ready to make technology work for you? Tune in to Act on Tech, the podcast where we break down the latest tech trends and show you how to boost your productivity at home and in your business. So, subscribe to Act on Tech today and visit alexcustomtech.com to see how we can take your business to the next level. That's Act on Tech, your guide to smarter tech for a smarter business. Alex Custom Tech, IT means integrity and trust.
Welcome to Act on Tech, where we talk all things technology. I am Alex of Alex Custom Tech, and today's topic is one that is often overlooked in cybersecurity: your people. Okay? So, you can have the best firewall, the most secure password, and locked down network, but it's your staff, the people that you work with. Click on the wrong email, all that can come crashing down. Let's talk about that and how to train your team to become the strongest line of defense. And we're taking this topic on basically because in the past we talk about a lot of the software and a lot of the hardware, and I kind of give you like insight into my psychology about there's no solution but trade-offs, and this kind of like leans heavily into that psych approach to this, because this topic is, I would call it like, it's not a software, it's not a hardware thing, it's a human thing. It's what we do, our contribution to making things safe or not safe. So I would call it the human firewall. Like, we're really the last line of defense. And if you train your guys good and you have a good culture, all the other bells and whistles, all the other bells and whistles I've talked about before pales in comparison to how important this part of it is. So if you create a culture where safety is the most important thing, and it's not like you're just saying that because you're supposed to say it, but your actions don't follow. So like, there are people that would say that, safety first, right? But they're hoping that there are people in their employment that's rogue that will go off script to get the job done. This happens a lot in sales. They want people to be go-getters, but they say, no, we don't have pushy salesperson, but they do have pushy salesperson, and those are the ones that get rewarded, right? So if we don't have those dual messages where we're saying one thing but promoting something else, then we can get to this podcast. When we say your team is the last line of defense, it's supposed to be a situation where they are held accountable for how laxed they are when it comes to security. If you train them what is expected of them, and you enforce that, and you create a culture around that, and you don't tolerate cutting corners, then we'll have a better understanding. The team will have a better understanding going forward about what's important, and that will create a practice in your environment. And anybody you onboard on new in your organization will pick this up right away. Like, whoa, this place is not playing around when it comes to checking my emails or knowing what things look like or whatever, or reporting things that are kind of suspicious. They'll know that you guys are not playing around, and that's how you protect your infrastructure, not just with software, not just with hardware, but with the people and the culture. So every business talks about cybersecurity, but most ignore the number one threat vector: human error. Phishing emails, social engineering, poor password habits, it all comes down to people. Today, we are diving into how to build what is called a human firewall, our workforce trained to spot threats, respond correctly, and protect your business at every click. Okay, so we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about a couple of definition words. We're going to define a couple of words. you probably hear me talk about these already, but we're going to go through them again. Just kind of like a refresher. So key definition, what we're going to talk about today: social engineering, tricking someone into giving up access, information, or clicking on something malicious. Okay. Phishing, fake emails or texts designed to steal login info or install malware. Human firewall, that's a culture of cyber awareness where your employees act as the first line of defense or first layer of defense. Okay? Why are people the weakest link? Good question, right? One have to ask yourself, or what am I asking? Why even coming up with this? Why are people the weakest link? Or the strongest one, to be fair. Why are they the weakest or the strongest? Okay? 90%, and this is a fact, and this is kind of rough to say, but it's a fact. Like, statistically, I'm telling you right now, and I talk about this a little bit, I touched on it a little bit before in other podcasts. 90% of successful cyber attacks start with human error. Can you imagine that? Let that sit with you for a while. All these people freaking out about how all these hackers are horrible and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, 90% of successful cyber attacks start with human error. Hackers target staff, not firewalls. They know that the firewalls are hard to get to. They know that the firewalls are hard. They know that the software is pretty good. They start with human beings. They use urgency, fear, or fake authority to get what they want. Right? If your team isn't trained, your security tool doesn't stand a chance. So it always comes down to how you're treating your employee, how you let them know what's important, what's priority for this organization. All right? Common human mistakes that lead to breaches: clicking on phishing links, reusing or sharing passwords. We talked about this before. Ignoring security warning on pop-ups. Like you go on you Google and it says updates. Click here to update Google, and you ignore it because it's annoying. The reason why they're updating, we'll talk about update before. The reason why this is happening is because Google may have found a hole or something that needs to be patched because there's a hack, there's a vulnerability in Google that they found out about, and they created a patch for that, and you have to have that patch. If you don't have that patch, your computer remains to be vulnerable. So that's why we update things, right? Ignoring security warnings, using unauthorized app, which is what we talk about. I think I told you about Shadow IT, is where you install iTunes on your computer because you like listening to music or that kind of stuff, where it's not authorized in IT, like it's not an approved software that's supposed to be running on your network, and you put it in there anyway, which you guys really shouldn't have that access, but anyway, right? Not reporting suspicious activities. So you see something that's kind of funny, you see an email coming to you is kind of funny that knows information about people, that says an email that looks funny that says Barbara in HR is asking for these things, and you're like, that's not Barbara, I know that says hotmail.com. That's not right. You delete it. You didn't report it. You didn't let them know. Because maybe Barbara was hacked. Okay. What employees training should cover, and this is something that I should actually do and put on my website so you guys can have like a template of what we're talking about here, while to create some kind of a training white paper or something like that you can use. So what employees training should cover: phishing awareness, show real example of fake emails, teach staff to hover over links to verify sender and slow down. So don't just click, hover over the link, see where the link is going, because sometimes I have a word, and in the word it's always highlighted in your email, it's always highlighted, and then and if you hover over it, it'll link you to something else on another web page. Hover over it to see where the URL is going. Is one of your vendors? Is a legitimate email? Slow down. You're getting paid by the hour, or it doesn't matter if you get paid by the hour or not. Slow down. Nothing is in a rush. This is my philosophy in life. Nothing is dire. Nothing is dire. Everything requires patience, because that's how you can make the best decision. If you do something in a rush, that's problematic. All right. Password best practices. We talked about that in previous podcasts. We're going to go over it again here. Password best practices. Use password manager. Even myself, I struggle with this. I think I told you this before. I have a bunch of them that I use. Bitward, Aurora. I kind of, dance around between both of them. But pick one, go with it. You might want to pay for one of these software. They're very good. They're worth every penny. I'm telling you. I know it's money that you're spending, but if you're going to be online, we're going to be online. We're going to live our life in the web. We have to have these protections in place. I think at this point, we have to do them, especially for the security stuff, just to know what's going on in the dark web if you have anything out there. Enforce MFA, multi-factor authentication. That has to be enforced. That's very important. Secure communication habits. You want to create a good secure communication habits, like maybe procedures that you guys do, how you communicate with each other. Lock that in, teach everybody that, and then have them practice that. Don't send sensitive data over unsecured channels. Always verify requests for money, credentials, or client info, even from the boss, because the boss could have been hacked and you're not really getting it from him, you're getting it from somebody else. Reporting culture. You want to be a rat, basically. I'm just telling you, a lot of things we might be comfortable with, but you want to be a rat. If you see anything suspicious, report it to the IT team. It doesn't listen. They're not worried about being bombarded by unnecessary email. They'll look into each and every one of those things. Those guys are pretty solid. Just let them know that, listen, this is what's going on. This is what I got. Look at this email. This is kind of funny to you. And then they'll look into it. And then they'll do a search or audit or whatever. And they say, oh, hey, this is coming from so-and-so email. They were hacked or whatever. So they need to take these procedures going forward. If you have your MSP, they're your IT team. Let them know. They have people on board that will help them, that will navigate through this. And they need to know this because they want to know and be proactive to these problems. Okay. So remember, communication habits, reporting culture. You want to have a rat culture, basically. Talk about everything. Encourage curiosity. If you see something, say something. Okay. Again, this is web. This is not the real world. This is not like outside, where you want to mind your own business. Again, I am pro mind your own business. Trust me. I'm not up in everybody's business outside in the world. But like when it comes to like an organization where you're protecting the integrity of the organization, yes, you want to be a rat. You want to be like, oh, this email looked funny, guys. Look into this email. So stuff like that. All right. Tools to support the human firewall. Phishing simulation platform. You want to have something that you can log into and you can train people how to recognize phishing emails. And I'm going to recommend something you can use now before. That's just Google that. That's something you can use, and you can use Confense, COFENSE. Those are pretty cool things you can use, pretty cool tools you can use to teach people how to recognize some of these suspicious phishing emails. Right? Cyber awareness training portal. Right? There's another you can log into. One I recommend is Ningio. That's NINGIO, or Curriculum, which is CURRICULA. Those are two companies that you can Google, log on to them, learn about cyber awareness, learn about training. I'm gonna probably put something else up to a white paper wise to follow along with this. Again, I'm running a little bit behind on the blogs, but I'll do something to cover this. All right. To kind of get you guys, help you guys, you can go to my website and say, oh, let's see if Alex covered this in his white paper. Onboarding security training. When you hire somebody, you want to run this, supposed to be like part of your orientation. You want to beat this. If you decide to hire them, you want to beat this into them, right? This is how we are here. This is the culture here. This is how we do things here, right? Quarterly reference and policy review. Every 3 months, go over it again. Everybody get the training. Keep it repetitive, then it will become second nature. I work with companies that waste their time on things that they do quality training for, and I'm pretty sure they have good reasons in their mind for it. I just, again, because I'm a free thinker, so a lot of the things that companies do is because of the culture we have right now and how litigious it is. So they're afraid that they're getting sued, so they'll spend a lot of time on sexual harassment or diversity and all this other stuff, which to me is completely unnecessary, right? That doesn't need to be trained, or in people let people be people. But this stuff, this requires quality training. This requires classroom stuff every 3 months. This require you putting, because this could really break a company. If there's a sexual assault, you can investigate that, and 9 times out of 10, somebody blowing something out of proportion. Not saying that all the time it is, but sometimes that's what it is, right? Diversity, it's not even a thing, right? I'm sorry if you believe in diversity, that's your problem. I'm not a diversity kind of guy. Okay, I think people are people, and we're supposed to be judged by who we are as individuals, not by our skin colors or on that kind of stuff. So I don't buy into that diversity stuff. Merit is merit is merit. We talked about Booker T. Washington before. That's my go-to guy. Booker T. Washington says merit is merit. Okay, you get judged by your merit. So those things are a waste of time. But when you talk about cybersecurity and how important it is for your guys to be trained up on that on a quarterly basis, I am talking about passion here. This is not negotiable. They should be taught this, right? Because because again, I talked about it. What we're talking about right now, human error, 90%. That's what it is, 90%. You can navigate sexual harassment. Believe me, you can. You can navigate diversity higher. You shouldn't even be hiring people based on diversity. You should be hiring them based on merit. Period. No debate. This should be from you decide to hire them. You need to sit them down during orientation. After the orientation, a couple of days, you should be showing them phishing emails, what it looks like. You should be showing them talking about cybersecurity. You should be showing them all this stuff. This is not negotiable. Okay? Just to keep you, again, human error, 90%. That's why I'm talking like this. All right. So, quarterly reference plus policy review. Actionable takeaways from this podcast. Okay. Don't just install tools. Train your team. That's why I just have the passionate talk a while ago just now. Don't just install tools. Train your team. Let them know what the tools are, how it works. They don't have to be an IT guru, but how it works. And again, have your IT or MSP come in and do the training, right? Or have them train you and you can train them. This is all stuff you can negotiate with your MSP. We do that here, right? I take on a client, and this is stuff I encapsulate in what I do and what I offer. I want them to report all the funny things to me. So I want to do audits every 3 months. I want to sit down and say, this is what I'm seeing. And we have to have that kind of rapport, because that's important. The back and forth. Let them know what's going on in the network, what's going on with that stuff. But I need their feedback. Without them telling me this is what I'm seeing on my end, I won't know. Right? And sometimes they do something, because again, 90% is human error, right? But then they blame the MSP. The MSP didn't do something. Seriously? You didn't do something on your end. Your guys dropped the ball. And I'm the kind of guy that would say that. This is kind of where I don't think, that's why I don't really prescribe to the customer is always right thing. And if people hear this podcast and they're like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't work with you, that's fine. That is fine. But if you drop the ball, that's a you problem. Even if I am hired under you, if I told you do X, Y, and B and X, Y, and C and you didn't do it, that's on you. Period. I will help you recover, but that's a you problem. Period. I don't prescribe to that stuff, and I'm not holding anybody's hands. And as far as like cuddling you in your boo boo, right? You made a mistake. We can help you, 100%. But that's you made that mistake, right? So just want to say that, I want to put it out there, and maybe that's why I don't have more customers, because I'm so hardline when it comes to these things. But I don't understand this cuddling thing we got going on in this culture. I'm Jamaican. I wasn't grew up cuddled. I was not cuddled. Life is life. Either you buck up and deal with life, or you sit down and get out of the way. That's pretty much how I was raised. So I bring that to my work. I bring that to IT. I bring that to whatever I do. I don't understand the fetal position thing. I cannot relate to that. So yes, we can help you. Other MSPs can help you. Don't be afraid to get help. I mean, listen, to be honest with you, here's the reality. You have a company, you call MSPs, they come in, they read you the riot act, they say, listen, this is what we're going to offer you X, Y, and Z, and we're going to secure your network, right? You need to say to them, okay, boom, we need these things. We need training every 3 months. We need audits every 3 months. If they're not saying that to you, you should be saying that to them. All right? Or you hire somebody else, another MSP or a third party, to do the audit. But there should be some audit. That's all I'm saying, right? Definitely, there should be some audit. And because it's on you, right? Run a simulation phishing campaign each month. Test them out. Let's see who the guys that are responding to it, who picking up the training, and then the guys who don't. I'm telling you, reprimand them or write them up or anything like that. But say, hey, Bob, you didn't report the phishing email. You clicked on it, but you didn't report it. What was going on? What's going on here? Do that kind of stuff, so that they'll know that you guys are sending out phishing email every 3 months, right? So they'll be looking for it. You see how that works? It's not you just want to keep their mind, and you want them to approach their work slowly, not rushing, and looking for these things. It's going to be second nature to them as soon as they learn, but you have to do these things, okay? Schedule quarter cyber awareness training. You see, you come down about the training. These are the takeaways. Cyber awareness training. Again, put them in a room, maybe different groups, pick a topic, talk about that topic, hammer it home. So at least they're not gonna know all the things about this, but they know some things about it. They have some ideas. Like, one of the funniest things going on right now in the world, because we talk about this on one of my first podcasts about AI, and I said to you guys, it's not a problem. AI is not an issue. AI is the next revolution. So we have different revolution in economics. Okay, we were agrarian culture for a long time. We had farms. We have serfdom for a while, and then we have the industrial revolution that lasts a long time. And then we have the we went into the .com or the computer space, right? Revolution that's for a long time, like 20 years or 30 years, and now we're kind of moving into AI, and everybody's freaking out. Every single one of those revolutions before, people freak out. It's not new, right? And every single one of those revolutions that happens that uproot jobs, I'm not going to tell you it didn't uproot jobs, it uprooted jobs. People survived. We've moved on. We overcome. Here's the thing, if you see AI right now and you're worried about it, what should you be doing? You should be trying to figure out how you can capitalize on the AI. Again, it's not a preaching thing, it's just I don't understand how some of these things are so avoidable. This podcast is turning into a sermon, but the point is, and I'm not really ranting just to rant, I'm just saying that I'm so passionate about the security stuff because I know it's just mind-boggling that it's 90% of all these hacking, if people talking about all this hacking with all these companies, 90% of it is human error. 90%. We're putting millions of dollars into software and hardware. What did we put into people? They're the problem. If you really look at it, what did we put into people? Nothing. So at Alex Custom Tech, I am going to do the hardware and I'm going to do the software, but I am taking on the people. So we need the training. We need the knowledge. Okay. So schedule quarterly cyber awareness training. Last but not least, make cybersecurity a part of your company culture. Culture is everything. Culture to me is if we figure out culture, we solve all the world's problem. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, culture is the issue. How we relate to ourselves, how we see things, and how we understand things, and how we relate to each other. What are the rules? What are the rules? And does the rules make sense? When you ask yourself, why is this rule there? Can you backtrack why the rule is there? Let me give you an example. Why do we have marriages? Why do two people come together to raise children? Because the child is better off in a two-parent home with a male and a female than not. That's why. So the culture, so we have a system, a culture where everybody gets together and agree that that is the best choice. Not that there's no other choices, but the best choice is for the male and female to stay together. So then the culture will say, okay, so we want marriages, so the culture is going to promote marriages. So you have an institution called marriage, and then you have incentives to people to get married, and there's incentive for them to stay married. When the culture started to break down, when they started to take away from that, they take away the incentive and they take away the cultural idea that it's the best option for a child, culture started to break down. Take that and go with it how you want to go with it. But culture is the key. All the world's problem, all the wars, all of that stuff stem from culture. All of it. If you have the right culture, you can figure this stuff out. It's very clear. So cybersecurity, make cybersecurity a part of your company culture. Let it be the end all be all. Let them understand that we don't want to get hacked, and we don't have to get hacked. And if we do these things, 9 times out of 10 we won't. That's supposed to be the culture we have within this company, and we're going to provide you with all the tools you need to make that a possibility. Okay? Thanks for listening to Act on Tech. Your firewall isn't just your router. It's your people. Okay? If not just your router, it's your people. A trained team will spot threats, stop attacks, and protect your business from inside and out. If you want any help with this stuff, right? I didn't turn you off in this podcast because I'm a right-wing maniac, right? Give Alex Custom Tech, check out Alex Custom Tech at www.alexcustomtech.com. Send me an email or call me, and I will, we can come up with something to help you out. And honestly, I'm doing this podcast to showcase my business and get more customers and all the stuff. But if that doesn't happen, and you hear this podcast and you say, well, you can still take away information in here that is very viable to take to your MSP. You don't have to call me. You can call people local to you, whatever, but this information is still valuable. I believe it, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I do the podcast. I'm not a sales guy. I don't know how to do smooshing. I have no idea how to do that, but I just call things as I see it. Some people accept it, some people don't, and that's fine. But this information is not negotiable. This information is not wrong, and that's a fact. And that's why I can sleep at night. Okay? So until next time, stay alert, stay equipped, and keep on acting on tech.